Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Starseed Academy. These are the Wednesday groups, the Cosmic Starseed Academy Ascension and Starseed Bootcamps. And today's date is the 1st of April, 2026, and it is 8:20 here in PM here in Ireland. So welcome, everyone. I have a couple of announcements to make. I am going to be doing more events, and the first one will be a physical event in Blarney on the 18th of July, 2026, and it will be from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it'll be €33, and that's on a Saturday, so it'll be for one day event. It will be recorded. If it's not live streamed, it will be recorded and sent out for a small nominal fee. So, and that will be all around working with the stone circle in Blarney Castle, which is called the Seven Sisters. And it's an ancient stone circle, and the land there it's pretty amazing. It's very mythological land. It's very etheric. There's a lot of energy there. So I'm going to be working on the land, and I still have to set an itinerary for the day, but there'll be lots of activations, initiations, calling in the Pleiadians and Ashtar. And so I'm very much looking forward to that. And if you want to join, you can send me an email. I will be getting sign-up forms on my website as soon as possible. And yeah, I'm so looking forward to that, to working with the land again. Because I haven't done that in a while. So let me see. Where do we start? We come in this evening with energy of a very light energy, very uplifting frequency of love. It's a very clear energy that we come in with today of light. Light, thank you. Light as a feather energy. We come in with the Lyrans, we come in with Jesus, we come in with Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. An easy energy of movement forward, where things are much easier on your planet now to move forward. Things are shifting, things have been shifted, and the pathway for you is clearer than ever before. Thank you. You are making monumental strides forward in your work, in your work. We include Soma in this. You are releasing energy, Nancy. You most likely probably tired as well because you are thank you. You are releasing energies that have been with you for many lifetimes.
Yahoo!
Clearing your throat would be very beneficial for you. Toning, singing, any vibration that you could get into your throat through toning or singing or using your vocal cords, using your voice, humming, toning, singing, anything like that would really help your throat.
Okay.
Yeah, and your throat chakra to clear it. We are going to become silent for a few moments as we do heart activations for you and everyone listening in the future. We are not going to speak or talk through instructions or what we are doing, but we are simply going to become silent for a few moments. Now would be a good time for questions, Nancy, if you have any.
Let me grab my notebook. So the questions are more of a spiritual nature, correct?
They don't have to be. Let us add before you begin that thank you, we were just showing Soma an image of some of your animal spirit guides: eagle, wolf, owl. You have a great affinity with dolphins.
Yeah, I love them all.
Go ahead.
I had gotten a tuning fork appointment with my friend Florence, and Saturn came up, the rings of Saturn, and you had mentioned that too with someone else that you had spoken to. I was wondering if there was any connection.
We are delighted that you've asked this question because, and as is Selma, because we showed her previously in another session Saturn rings. The reason we showed that then, it, we showed it, thank you. We showed it just to clarify for you and Soma. We showed it to her twice, once with you and once with another human being. And the reason we did that is because Saturn is emitting frequencies that are audible, like radio waves, communicating messages from past, long past eons of history. What we mean is these signals are only being picked up, but they are ancient radio waves, signals, messages. There was once a time when ships landed on Saturn, and some would say that is impossible. Some would also say that there is no other life in the universe, that it is only human beings on planet Earth.
Well, we know that's not true.
Yes, indeed.
So what do I do with that information about Saturn? Are the frequencies affecting me now?
It is not really, not in the way that you're asking,
Okay.
but it is more a call that was put out to the universe, to other planets and star systems, for those who may listen or pick up the signals. We would say it would be good. We've said this before. We would say again, it would be good for you to go out into the night sky and look up
I do.
and record and send your thoughts out because we are telepathic. These radio waves being sent out from Saturn are not just, thank you, are not just messages, but they contain an energy frequency. Transmissions and healing energy, like a clearing type energy. Do you have any other questions?
I had had a dream or two, shall we say. I was watching Bashar and he was talking to this woman and he was talking to her about you can never get lost on the astral, or if she's going to, do something off planet, she'll never get lost because she's always connected by the silver cord. And I burst into tears. And I was wondering what that was about.
Because there are times when you have felt lost, both in your life and on the astral. It
Did it
is,
have to? Go ahead.
thank you. It is kind of true that you cannot get lost on the astral. However, there are beings, alien, what you would call alien beings in the universe that hmm, that are doing and have done experiments more in the past than now on human beings.
On
And
me?
when they do these experiments, they create a force field of energy that holds that human being within that space that they have been brought into. So during abductions, it is very difficult. Thank you. During abductions by, let us say, the greys, the small greys, when these abductions have happened, the human being has been held in a energy where they often cannot get back into their bodies. And Soma herself has experienced this. So in that sense, you can get lost on the astral. Although you are not really lost, it is more that you are contained or held on these grey ships or ships where the greys operate. They do not work alone. They are governed, or employees is a good word. Employees going about their work.
Has that happened to me?
Many times,
That I've been abducted, shall we say?
many times.
When I was in my teens?
And younger than that.
Mm.
Also in past lives.
Because it's never come up for me in this lifetime. I've never even thought of it. I've heard of everyone else, all the stories I've, listened to. I never even considered that I was one of those people. Because there was a time in my teens, it's all I wanted to wear was blue clothes. And I thought it was really interesting thinking back on it now, because every time I wear blue, everyone says, "You look so good in that color." So I've been really wanting to wear blue, knowing I'm from Sirius, which is blue. I'm really embracing that color.
And the crystals can be embraced more as well.
Mm-hmm.
The jewelry, the
Mm-hmm.
creativity, the
Yeah.
making bracelets or crystal products where you can infuse energy into them, such as Lemurian or Syrian or Lyran or Ashtar or Pleiadian or Atlantis, you can infuse your crystals with these energies, and you will begin to remember more and more and more. Your clairvoyance is becoming clearer. Your third eye is becoming clearer. There will come a time, thank you, there will come a time when you will remember the hieroglyphics, remember looking at them and reading them. There will come a time when you are given symbols and ancient language and light language and sounds and symbols and color, and they are interwoven with each other. And they carry an energy, a teaching, a frequency, a sound, a color, all interwoven to each other. They are not just a sound or just a hieroglyphic or just a frequency or just a crystal. They are interwoven with all of these things. And therefore they have a magnetic power. And you can infuse these energies into your body, into your stomach area, or into your heart center, or into your throat, or into your third eye, to enhance your abilities, your innate abilities. There was once a time when you were a high priestess in Atlantis and Egypt and Lemuria. You are not just Nancy who lives down the road that is small or insignificant. That is a lie that has been sold to each and every one of you, or the vast majority of you anyway. The elites, of course, are an exception to human beings on your planet because they're not really human beings. They have a different DNA, as you do. Thank you. Selma doesn't remember if we've said this before or not, but you do have a past life in Ireland.
Yes.
And Scotland and Wales, and you were once connected to Merlin or had a lifetime where you crossed paths. Easter Island is also significant.
Do people live there?
Absolutely. There is a vast underground tunnel system on Easter Island. Long stretches of tunnel and areas that were once livable by large groups of people.
Do people go down there now?
Good question.
Let's go for a little tour.
There is a military
Force.
But it is not a huge presence. It is more of a, what you call on your planet, a skeletal workforce, a small number. We will close there for today.
Thank you.
Oh, we are not really going anywhere. Rather, we are stepping out of Soma's body and stepping next to her. So we are not leaving. We are just pulling back or disconnecting. Oh,
That was great.
that was, I enjoyed that information where, because they never said that before. They've kind of, I've always, not always, but I guess the last couple of years, I've had a feeling about Easter Island where there may be underground stuff, but it was never conscious within me. So it's nice that they did that. I'm going to take a 2-minute break, and I'm just going to. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just. Welcome back, everyone. We were just taking a short break there, and I'm just going to live stream us onto YouTube. And I'd like to ask a couple of questions this evening for everyone that's here in the Zoom group with me, um, about past lives and what you remember. And Dennis is going to begin by doing some prayers in a moment.
Okay, we'll begin
Well,
with
one
some.
moment, Dennis.
All right.
Okay, Dennis, go ahead.
All right. We'll begin with
Where
some.
are you?
I'm in my car.
Are you? Because you look like you're in the driving seat of a UFO.
No. All right. We'll begin with a simple prayer. And a favorite prayer of mine is called the Law of One. And I'll say it and repeat it a few times. And it is a very powerful prayer of protection, where one stands in one's own sovereignty, I am beingness. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks. This is done. It is so. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. We are all one. When one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, with Mother, Father, God, I ask for the greatest good of all here concerned. I give thanks that this is done. It is so. And a simple I am mantra and a powerful I am mantra. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. I am the light. I am the love. I am the truth. I am. Okay.
Thank you, Dennis. So I wanted to take us live on YouTube because I really love doing that. And so there's a couple of questions that I'd like to ask everyone. And this is also for the people in YouTube. So one of the questions that came up, well, I have two questions so far, but some more might come to me. So one of the questions is, how do you want to show up in the world now, given where you are now? And I know a lot of us have been feeling that we've let go of a lot of who we were, of who we used to be. We've really let go of a lot of stuff. And that is a collective and individual thing. As we move into the ascension and the higher dimensions, we've really done a lot of shedding and letting go. We've really let go of a huge amount of stuff over the last couple of years. In fact, since 2019. And as that time has gone on, we've let go of more and more and more and more. We've gone through huge clearings. Huge clearings. And Nancy, I feel like you're in that energy now. Whatever it is that you're clearing. But yeah, that's one of my questions. Who do you want to be now, given that you've let go of so much? Who would like to start with that? Nancy?
I'm not sure how to address that. I mean, I seem to be a clearer channel for people. I'm like a therapist. I see people every day, and they do talk to me about their issues, and I don't want to like give them answers, but just help them see their own strengths without judgment. And with my family, I don't do drama. So I'm able to support from a distance if possible without getting physically involved, emotionally involved, and maybe give them some suggestions if they want it. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's the best answer I can come up with right now with my foggy, cold brain.
Okay. So a therapist then?
Well, I'm a massage therapist, so but people just naturally vent before the appointment, or sometimes during the whole appointment they talk. But I also am like a huge foodie, and I like to eat and cook very clean with no gluten, soy, corn, wheat, dairy, all that, and infuse it with love and just have people like eat it, and then they're like, "This is so good. Can I have some more?" So it's a healing food, and help people feel better in that capacity, because they're not eating the seed oils and the garbage that they're used to eating, and kind of have that epiphany, that good food doesn't have to taste awful like grass clippings. So yeah, the food piece is something else I want to It's my next career, I think. As I'm phasing out of massage therapy a little bit, because I can't do both full time.
And have you thought of doing a book with recipes?
Yes, I have, and I have started it years ago. It was online. It's I think it's called yourowncookbook.com. I think that's really the name of the site. And then you just, put in the information and maybe a picture if you want to, and just have it printed. So I started it but haven't finished it. And someone told me I could print it up in sections. It doesn't have to be the whole book of, 150 recipes like all at once. It could be an appetizer chapter, a main course chapter, desserts and smoothie chapter. You know what I mean? It could be all done little by little.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just haven't done it
Yeah. Yet.
yet.
Yes.
Yet.
Yeah.
For sure.
And Dennis?
Well, my answer to that isn't it isn't so important for me to answer what I will do or what I want to do, but more important, who I am and who I choose to be or how I choose to be. So I think it just continues with even more importance to be oneself and to be true to oneself. And I can quote one of my favorite philosophers, Cat in a Hat by Dr. Seuss, when he says, "Today you are you. That is truer than true. There is no one alive who is youer than you." So I think it is just so important in our journey to become more ourselves.
Yeah.
And to do that without fear. And so fear can very easily guide us to blending in, to acting to please others, to present ourselves in a way that is more acceptable to others or does not offend others. And that is an error. That is a mistake. So it takes some courage for us to choose to be fully ourselves.
Yeah.
And um, there's another phrase again by that great spiritual philosopher, Cat in a Hat. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. So be you. So how I wish to show up, the doing is not so important. I put the emphasis on the being. And I think when we put the emphasis on how we are, on how we be, when we put the emphasis on our being, then the appropriate doingness is easier to find and follow.
I like that. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
What about you, Amira?
The person I'd want to be.
Well, the question is, how do you want to show up in the world now, given where you are now, having let go of a lot of stuff?
Oh, like somebody that does somebody that wants to like how does it a writer, of course. A truth disclosure, somebody how do I say? Somebody that makes people happy. Um like my writings and stuff, but also put light, anchoring light. And it's a good question, really. Um, and trying to do stuff for I want to do stuff for women and kids. Some positive influence and impact, I guess you could say. So, so that's what it is. You there?
I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody. So I would like an influencer of good deeds. You know, somebody that helps uh change. How do you say it? I'm trying to find the word. Somebody that writers, a writer about things. Somebody that makes an impact, big impact, and somebody there that would help people that really like could use it. A positive influence, a positive impact. You know, I don't know, like I want to be a person with abundance to do things that I would be I'm very passionate about, you could say. And if honestly, if I could, I'd have a big cat sanctuary. I would have a big cat. I'm thinking of like doing something like that. Just getting my own place and everything, and just where I could have feed the birds, have stuff out for birds, dogs, cats. Just I don't know. Just there's a few things. So it's hard to say. So
So my next, oh, let me check YouTube, sorry, to
that's
see
okay.
if anyone has replied there.
Yeah, I'd ask your YouTubers if they want to answer.
Yes, the question is for everyone, including YouTube. So everyone's just saying hello, really. But that's my question, guys, in YouTube, is how do you want to show up in the world now, given where you are now, and having released a lot of stuff and have let go of a lot of stuff of who you used to be. I know I've been very different people at different times in my life, especially when I was younger. And I've had some very different phases in my life where I was the same person but different phases, you know. Um, for example, I was in my late teens and early 20s. I once was having a period in my time where I'd left home and was doing a lot of drugs, believe it or not. And then I stopped that and got into healing, and then spiritualism, and then Buddhism, and then shamanic, and then I also wrote a book, so I'm an author. Well, two books actually. And I've been other people as well, not other people, but I've had different kind of sections of my life where I've been very different people, and I guess always spiritual. I've always had that, always been aware from a very young age of past lives and auras and stuff like that, which kind of leads me on to my next question. Because I was one of those children. I was one of those weird children, very weird. And I often had my mum looking at me as if I had two heads. Like, who is this little girl? Like, she's surely not my daughter. And because of her background and where she came from, which would have been rural farmers in Ireland from Mayo. She was from Mayo. And I know she also, I think looking back in hindsight, she was also very spiritual. But I would be telling her stuff. I remember when we first landed in Dublin, and I'd never been there before, and she knew that, and she knew I couldn't read or write. I was very young. I must have been between 5 and 7, or maybe 3 and 7. I'd say 3 and 7. And we'd landed in Dublin from South Africa, from Namibia or South Africa. And um, we were out walking one day in Dublin, and I remembered the road names, and I remembered what was down the road and to the right, and what was over there, and what was over there, and what was over there. And yet I couldn't physically see it, but I was remembering it from a past life. And I was telling her about it, and I was telling her the road names and what was around the corner and all of that stuff. And she just looked at me. Like I just landed off a different planet. And she never really knew what to make of me. Like when I was talking, when I was telling her stuff like that, sharing stuff like that with her. I think I remember the look on her face sometimes. I think I was making her question a lot of things, and even reality and life and past lives and spirit and all of that stuff. And I think she got a lot from it, although she would just be looking at me kind of with inquisitiveness and even bewilderment. Also an openness. There was an openness there from her towards me with the spiritual stuff, but I don't think she'd know what to make of it. In fact, I know she didn't. And so my next question for everyone is, do you remember your past lives? And what, if you do, what were they? And of course, do you remember Atlantis or any of those more sacred lifetimes, or what you consider to be sacred? And who will we start with? Let's see. Who wants to go first? And this is also for YouTube people.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay.
I can't say I remember my past lives, but when I like I was watching a friend of mine, I was watching her and she was like 10, my friend's daughter, and she was on my couch and I popped in a video that was Atlantis. It was a cartoon. And I didn't see the movie, but I could hear it. I was in the kitchen. And I kept getting these tingles and tingles and tingles. And I'm like, what is this movie? I mean, I knew what the name of it was, but so I went in to watch it with her, and I'm like, I must have been in Atlantis. And that's the only way I knew. It was just the tingles. And like when I see Ireland and Scotland, like I have a friend in Wales and we are very close. And I sent you that video on Scotland. And I'm like, I want to go. I was in Ireland for a week by myself in 2017. I'm like, I have to go. So I booked the trip and I went by myself and I went to Loch Lean and I went to these castles and Bunratty Castle. And I had a driver for a week. He was amazing. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to go. I heard it was really safe. Like I walked home from town. I was in Killarney by myself, didn't ever worry about it. I was at like a Holiday Inn. So I've done some Reiki, and I felt a really heaviness on me. And someone told me that I was because I was in World War II. So I feel like I've been in some wars. I love the tight boots that you wear. That's like halfway up your leg, and they lace up, or they, the ones now zip. I love those boots. I wear them all the time, which is what soldiers wore.
Yeah.
And like I told you the other day, I had my Jesus sandals when I was in my teens, not knowing a thing. But then now I'm like, I must have been Jesus's like friend or knew him then. Because I had to wear those sandals, even though they didn't match my graduation outfit when I was 17 and I graduated from high school. I had to wear those sandals. And then later I found out the guy that I was seeing, him and I were friends during the time of Jesus and after the crucifixion, or if that was even real. We got married. So, those little snippets of things has been really fascinating just to piece together who I've been and where I've been and who I've known. And yeah, that's, if I look at Greece, like the calendars of Greece, they look so familiar. Like I could dive into the calendar picture. You know what I mean? Because it's so beautiful, the ocean and the architecture. That's kind of how I judge it. When I get those tingles and a familiarness, I just feel like I've already been there. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Nancy.
You're welcome.
And Dennis? Do you remember any of your past lives?
I sure do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I sure do.
Do you remember Egypt?
Not particularly, no. I remember the life I had prior to this one, where I was I had
Oh,
I was living in England. I had Italian genealogy, and I was a dentist, and I was following a certain spiritual path and came to a good deal of knowledge, and I abused it and got bad karma for it, and was drinking too much and ended my own life.
Wow.
And I was full of shame and regret at the end of that life. So I wanted to be born in the back end of nowhere. And so then I got born in Cork in Ireland, in a small town. But I'm not complaining about that. Like, it's just funny how a certain wish can be asked for, and then how it is granted, and we cannot predict the consequences of it. Because I'm very proud of my family, very proud of being from that I'm Irish, and very proud of being from Cork and where I am in a small town in Cork. And then I remember many more past lives, many of them before Earth, with different.
Okay, hold on, Dennis. So I just want to ask you a quick question. So the lifetime in the UK where you were half Italian, do you remember your name or where that was?
No.
Okay.
Well, I have details of it, all right, but I don't have the name. But yeah. Anyway, so there are many lifetimes that I have come to know and remember, and many of them pre-Earth, not just before I came to Earth, but in time before Gaia. And then, interestingly, I also have awareness of being before creation, before matter, space, and time. So I have awareness of being involved in that creation and being in different games. And that's how
Games?
creation games.
What kind of games?
Making lights and hitting each other with beams, like early forms of tennis, and making planets, all games. Like that's where creation comes from. It comes from play. It comes from games. It's not work.
Yeah.
So Source isn't involved in the creation game because he's clocking in. He's going, oh, work. No, it's play. And more and more people are becoming aware that they are more, that we are not just our bodies. We are not just this physical experience and existence. And there is an element of becoming aware of past lives that many people do not face up to. And it takes a level of courage to go there.
Will you talk a little bit about that, Dennis? Because I remember once I was talking to someone, I was with a group of people that were spiritual, and I was talking about past lives, and they turned to me and with quite an aggressive energy, and they said to me, I'm not really interested in past lives, I'm more interested in this one. But it was like it was an aggressive kind of energy that they said it with. So anyway, I'll shut up now. Can you Would you like to talk a little bit to that?
Well, that's fine. That's a perfectly reasonable response. I myself would certainly put an emphasis on that. There is value in being able to contact or engage with other elements of yourself in other parts of time, in other spaces and places. But what's always most valuable and most important is being able to engage with where you are now. And that also takes some confront, and it takes some courage. So many people are not able to remember their childhoods, not to mind speaking of past lives. And so, what's the barrier there? Well, usually that barrier is experiences of pain and trauma.
Yeah.
That is in their own lives. And if people are unprepared or unwilling because it's a bit too uncomfortable to face their past, then they had best not try looking at earlier lives, because it is not likely that the very real deprivations or pains or trials or trauma that you experienced in your life, it's very likely that as a mortal being, they are not your darkest, most painful and worst experience, as bad as they may be. Particularly when one takes into fact that one is an immortal and eternal being, and likely have lived many, 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 many lifetimes. Not tens, not hundreds, thousands or tens of thousands.
To the dawn of time.
Yes, but then it's not just time. We exist before time. So, because we are not created, that is an illusion, that we are created. That God created us. It's not true. Or Pleiadians created us. Not true. Or the Anunnaki. No, not true. Now,
for the people listening in the future, who would you say created us then? Because
we did. We did, because in truth, in essence, we are part of Source. We are Source. So we are part of the Source mind. We are, in essence, spirit. We are, and spirit is not something which is created. It is what creates. So we are involved in the creation of the script of the universe. And going back to that prayer, we are all one. It doesn't say We are one with other fucking poxy created beings. You know, we are one with other victims. We are one with other lab created whatever. No, we are one with all that is. We are one with all that is. We are one with Source, one with Mother, Father, God. So what gets created is matter and mass and planets and bodies and DNA. All these physical things can get created and manipulated. And who's involved in the creation and the manipulation of them? We are, because we are part of Source from the beginning, before the beginning. So we are involved in the thought creation of those who come before us. We are involved in the creation of the Pleiadians. We are involved in the creation of the Anunnaki who came to this planet and carried out, you know, DNA manipulation to create a workforce for their empire. I went off track there on that
Yeah, that's okay.
point.
That's okay, darling.
So we're looking at past lives. I'm saying there is going to be experience of darker than in this one, and so as a gradient to have more awareness, it is important for people to be able to face this life. So the person who spoke to you in some aggressive manner, they had an interesting point there. And how does one face the hurts and trauma, the abuse, the injustices, the pain, deprivation, the cruelty that one might have experienced in this lifetime that affects one? And the short answer on that is one has to love it. To give compassion to it, not to fight against it, to give forgiveness to it. And then that's a process. That's a process. It's a soul journey. And as we make progress in that, and we learn to give forgiveness to others and forgive ourselves and grow in compassion and grow in tolerance, we as a being expand. And with that expansion of ourselves, we are coming closer to the truth of who we are, because the I amness doesn't have these third dimensional limitations on it. But as we do the work to give forgiveness, to give compassion, then we free ourselves from this burden. We increase our frequency, we expand our consciousness, and we become more to an understanding of who we really are. And then
And
we're
I just want to add to that. So we seem to be in a lifetime, especially now, in the time that we're in now, that is really accelerated, and we're on a very fast track very quick timeline of where things have increased and accelerated, and we're really stepping into remembering who we are, where we're from, and why we're here. It's really accelerated at the moment. We're really stepping in. We've cleared so much.
Yes. And as we uh, do that work, we step into a position where now we are more able to step into a wider sphere, to go into an area that requires more awareness and more courage. And that
Well said,
includes
Dennis.
one's own past lives.
Yeah.
And and there it's not all about just being Queen Sheba.
Well, you remembered.
It's about, one has had other lifetimes, and uh, one has to deal with that awareness of things that you have failed to do, and things that you did that you shouldn't have done, and where you were not the victim, but where you were a person, whether by error or by bad will or by your own anger and trauma, inflicted pain and
Or
damage
being
and hurt
deceived, because
to
a lot of
others.
us, or being deceived, because a lot of us were deceived in Atlantis.
Well, fine, but uh, that doesn't get us off the hook. It's like, tut tut, I was deceived. But in truth, we are fractals of the divine. So we could only be deceived because we allowed ourselves to be separate from that connection.
Yeah.
So we have to forgive ourselves for that, because we have a responsibility in what we experience. We have a responsibility in that we were deceived. We have a responsibility in that we allowed ourselves to be deceived. And so we have to forgive ourselves for that.
Oh, and Amira, thank you for sharing that, Dennis. And
Yeah, fine.
I have a sense of awareness that people listening in the future will really resonate with what you've said.
Mm.
But let's go to Amira.
Hi. Um, well, as in reference to Dennis, the, the so the last past life I had, I was okay. So I had a few of them, but I'll make short as I can. The last past life I had, I was killed for I was a Jewish girl in 1940s, Warsaw, Poland. Our family is very religious, very well learned, kind of upper middle class. I had a younger brother, good parents. My favorite color was blue, and they called me Slava for it's a short of Vladislava. So, and then, so how that came to me was when I was little, I wouldn't go into showers. You couldn't get me into one. I had to take a bath. I was afraid of dark. And when I first heard of, the atrocities of World War II, I couldn't stop learning as much as I could. And I was always, and after a long, I grew up and everything. I was very drawn to Polish culture, Polish people, and then I started picking up the languages. And a lot of Polish people, even some that I've had relationships with, they're so shocked and floored how I could pronounce, because it's not an easy language. A lot of wording and pronunciations and all that. So then when I went there, And I had a lot of dreams about it too. That was the first life I was aware of. So when I went there in 2010, I just had this really off feeling. So I mean, and then I had a flashback. So I was a 14-year-old girl, and even when I hear sometimes the German language, it kind of gives me the creeps. I don't know how to say it. It gives me, but that's that one. And then the life before that, I was a wife in County Cork of a lighthouse keeper. I lived in early 1900s Ireland. It was the
You know
lighthouse.
where?
Yeah, Kinsale, County Cork. Kinsale.
Have you been able
And
to research the lighthouse?
it's a golf course. It's part of the golf course. But my name was my name was Clodagh Kelly. My husband was Michael Kelly. And the guy that was my husband, we were childhood sweethearts. It's a long story, but anyways, I was a wife of a lighthouse keeper. I had this 10-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son, and I was a dressmaker. It was a beautiful life. I like beaches. Now I know why, and I always liked the sunset. Well, unfortunately, in 1914, I had developed stomach cancer or tuberculosis, but we think it's cancer. And I had died in that life. It was horrible. My kids were, preteens, and a lot of some other. I'm not going to go into what happened, but the rest of it was pretty sad after. But it was a beautiful life. I had this flowy red, like orangey red hair, beautiful. I've drawn it. That's why I like beaches. And I have my favorite cross has always been the Celtic cross. I like the Celtic cross. So the life before that one is the famine life. I had a husband and me. We were very like, we had a little plot of land where we would put
I was just
potato
about to
farm.
ask you about that.
County Cork, right. County Cork. Uh, I was Annie. My last name was O'Shaughnessy because when I first heard that name long ago, it stuck me. My husband was Sean Michael. So I had a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old daughter. Well, it was during the 40s, 1840s, and it got bad. And we were like in a one-room shack type of with the wooden floor, all that. And the potato blight happened. And then my husband was trying to get food and everything. And then he was shipped off to Australia. And then, obviously we were left, we died. I saw all of that. So that was a sad life. I wasn't that old, and probably late 20s. So then the last life I want to talk to, what is my favorite life, it was pre-colonial Australia. I was an Aboriginal woman. I was a wife of a warrior or a wife of somebody with high status. And I was brought back to that life. And especially where Uluru is. And that's why I've been always drawn to go. But it was pre-colonial Australia. I was in a tribe of 30 or more people. So I was a wife. I had 2 preteen boys. So and we would do these dances. Now we had this. I was the big fire pit, like a big fire, and men and women were doing the dances and the chanting. And I was somewhere high up in the tribe, and then I saw another scene where in the daytime we were just hunting for fish and going around the oases and the lakes and like all that stuff around. And I really, so I don't know the name, but I know it was way over a millennia ago or something, but this was way before colonialism. But I would have to say that would be my favorite life. I don't, so that life that area I'm drawn to. I love my Aboriginals. I had a few lives as an Aboriginal woman. So that's mine in a nutshell. Though I've had many more, but those are the main ones I focus. Nice.
Thank you, Amira.
Yeah.
Yeah, just before you said about the famine, I I got the information about the famine past life with you, so I cut my jaw kind of dropped just before you said that, um, because because it's lovely that you have tapped into that. Okay, so I think I'm gonna close for the evening unless anyone else would like to share anything. It's a couple of minutes to 10 here, 10 p.m. here in Ireland. Would anyone like to share anything? And Dennis, will you lead us out with prayers in a minute as well, darling?
Well,
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, that's fine.
Go ahead, Amira.
Okay, and this is, I feel, having to do with Ireland. So when I went to England 20 years ago, and even though I'm half British Scottish on my mom's side, well, when I went to England, I felt spooked out. I felt very uneasy. I didn't like it there as soon as I touched the ground. So the whole time, and it's like there we speak the same language. The people were great. So I'm wondering if that's just my soul remembering because what the English, the whole history, what they did to the Irish people.
Dennis, do you want to comment on that?
Um, it's not clear to me if there was a question in there.
I don't think there was a question. Well, maybe Amira?
It sort of was is because on my mom's side is all British, English, and Scottish, right? So I'm born from British DNA. But when I was, and also, the English people are friendly. We speak the same language. But when I was there, I always felt an unease, spooked out, creeped out, not good feeling. So I wonder if that relates to anything with the Irish past lives.
Probably. The British have are there any countries in the world that the British
Yeah.
haven't gone to? You know, that
Yeah.
whole British thing with the royal family and the elites,
But
especially the royal family, I just see them as being reptilians, satanic, Illuminati, cabal, whatever you want to call them. And yeah,
well, it's like football teams, uh, or uh, you have your football team, and you get to choose how much energy you put into supporting it. And not only do you get to choose how much you invest in your own team and how much you identify with it and how much energy and emotion you put into your team, you also get to choose how you feel about the opponent team. That's your choice. You get to choose how much you dislike them. You get to choose how much energy and emotion you put towards them. Um, and we can change all of that, and so much of it is uh, there is so much of it, there is unawareness in it, and there is silliness in it. And we can find we don't need to hold on to so much disagreement or bad feelings towards this other group.
That is true, but Dennis Mulcahy, people need to be held accountable for the atrocities they've done.
Yes, but your point is not so valid because you pick this tiny little group of royals, of elites, you know, who do not really represent a nation, you know. And so we have so much more in common with English people as Irish than, you know, is very often admitted. And at the moment, there is conflict in the world, and the United States and Israel are throwing bombs at this other place called Iran, which they call a regime. And anyone who thinks that Iran is a regime, you know, you're falling for just a media propaganda. How does anyone think for a moment that this thing here is a regime and there isn't a regime on the other side? You know, I mean, when that word comes up, you're just dealing with propaganda straight away. There's alarm bells. Oh, this is just lies. This is news tempted to judge to giving prejudgments of a situation that are not valid, that are not true. I'm being misinformed here. There's an agenda going on. There's a pre-written narrative. I'm supposed to judge this in some way that some elites want me to look at it. When you hear that word regime, that's what's going on. So we have so much in common with all these Iranian citizens and families and individuals who are in the midst of this. And the same with Israelis. But there is something weird going on there, all right, you know. So once upon a time, there was South Africa practicing apartheid. It was seemingly acceptable. The nation started to object, and somehow the collective went, no more of this, and it stopped. And we can look back and go, well, that was terrible business. Well, clearly there is some of this same type of insanity and evil and control which is going on in Israel. But I think that will come to an end sometime soon too. There is my ramble, and I forget what we were talking about.
Well, that's okay. We were talking about past lives. But I would like to end the session. I'm going to go and make some nice food for myself. And it is 10 o'clock here, precisely now, actually. But thanks everyone for this evening.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't quite in past lives. That was a comment on Amira and feeling some not liking of the English. And what is that? That's just...
But she was asking if it was related to past life stuff.
It wasn't that I didn't like the English. No. I have nothing against them. I had this, it was nothing against English, and I'm not against them. First of all, you know, physically, the thing was, I had this feeling way before I even knew I had any past lives. Like, I wasn't even aware or sure, and I didn't even know that I even had Irish past lives. So this is way before I came into awareness.
Right. But the point is on that is this uneasiness that you feel. That's not something that any group has to do something to sort it out. You know, that doesn't need justice to sort that out. The uneasiness that we feel in our bodies or in our emotions, that uneasiness, that is within our power. Not only is it within our power, it's our responsibility to deal with our uneasiness. And it's too easy to go, well, I have this uneasiness and nothing can be done about it because it's those bastards over there.
Yeah, it's their fault.
Yeah. And one can do that. But then now one is giving up responsibility for this feeling that one has. And when one does that, one gives up one's control because you're disempowering yourself as sovereign, as divine fractal. So when you take responsibility for it, now you're in a position to confront it, to face it, to give it attention, to give compassion to it, to give forgiveness to it, and you heal it. And when you heal it within you, now it's going to be less in the world around you.
Thank you, Dennis. Okay, I'm going to go. And thank you, everyone. I'm going to go and make some nice food. So I will see everyone either on Friday or Saturday or Sunday.
Thank you.
Right. Night night.